I'm Jenny Blackwood, a small-town mom of 4 who refused to settle for a life that didn't light me up. When everything felt uncertain, I didn't run back to a 9-to-5, I bet on myself. I took a simple idea and turned it into an almost 7-figure business my first year, all while being a mom first. Now I'm here to help you trust your own power, chase the dream that keeps tapping your shoulder, and build a life that feels like you. This is Girl, Why Not You?
Shot. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Girl, Why Not You? I, of course, am your host, Jenny Blackwood, and today's conversation is for every woman who has looked around a room. And I mean a boardroom, a networking event, even a Zoom call, and quietly thought, who am I to speak up here? Is that resonating with anybody out there? Because today's guest is going to tell you something. She's spent 25 years proving this to be true, okay? You are not waiting to become a leader. Guess what? You already are one. And like a really extraordinary one at that, okay? Her name is Emily Lampkin. She's a best-selling author, a sought-after speaker and advisor, and the founder of the Women's Leader Series. She has trained thousands of women, you guys, across the country and honestly around the world, in corporate, in nonprofit, in education, in politics. And her style? Guess what? It's not fluff. It's pragmatic. It's tactical. It's the kind of advice you can use the second you hang up. Her book is called Duct Tape and White Lies, and the truth inside it are the ones most women need to hear, okay? So everybody saddle up. This is going to be a good one today. Emily, welcome to the show, girl. I am so excited to chat with you today.
Thanks for having me, Jenny. And thank you for being a woman leader. What a difference you make in our world.
Oh, thank you for saying that. It is my, true pursuit that I'm out here for. I would like to go into the framework here, Emily. I am so excited to talk about your book and everything that you've accomplished on your way to get there today, but I like to kind of start with the framework, okay? So before we get into that, before we get into all the brilliant things that you are working on now, I would like to start with the woman listening right now who does not believe what you just said, okay? She doesn't feel like a leader. She feels like she's faking it. So let's start there.
We are often faking it. That has nothing to do with being a woman leader, if you're faking it or not.
Yes.
If you don't admit to yourself you're a woman leader, I think by the end of my book, you will. Because the first thing you'll realize by reading my book is I am rooting for you, and there is a way you can get what you want.
I love it. Listen to that, everybody. That is so cool. I think so many hear the word leader and immediately think, like, that's not me. Like the insecurities come in. I'm not the leader she's talking about, right? So why do you say that that's a lie for people? And what do you think that it costs a woman to keep believing that false narrative?
Here's what I know. More than 50% of the women on this globe are unsatisfied with their life because they gave up on their dream.
Ooh.
And I'm not talking about that dream that we were going to be a cowgirl or a supermodel. Like the things that are really intimately important to us.
Right.
You will never get that if you don't start understanding that you have got to like you. Everybody else doesn't have to like you. But until you like you, you're going to be living this life of regret. And my goal is to change that number from more than 50 to all of us are doing what we want.
I love that so much. It's so funny. As I've gotten older, I care so much less about who frickin' likes me or not. Right? Have you ever heard the saying, like with friends, they say, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies? And wow, does that hit? But you're right. We have to love ourselves first. That makes so much sense to me. You teach women to start small, right? Openers as simple as, I'd like to learn more. I'd like to be your friend. Why does starting that small actually work and get results?
Because we get in a good habit and we get more confident because we ask for things.
Yeah.
And we're comfortable doing it over the course of time. That way, once you've done this enough, when you're asking for a promotion, a pay raise, investment money in your new business, whatever it is, a vote because you're running for office becomes a lot easier at that point because you're used to doing it.
Totally. I totally get that. I feel like, it's something where you tell women to never walk into a networking event without a plan, right? I know that that's something that you really advocate for. I would really like for you to kind of walk us through that because I think you've probably piqued the interest of people listening. They're like, wait a minute, what does Emily have that I need? So what should a woman know that she wants before she even gets there, which it sounds like something that's impossible to do.
Uh, I have to set the stage for you. I live in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Networking is imperative. It is the second job you do. You do your 40-hour a week, whatever you do during the day. And then you need to be spending almost 40 hours a week learning new people, getting more information, seeing a new perspective. So
Yeah.
networking is key. And I start by saying you never go to a networking event without a plan.
Mm,
And your
yes.
plan could be as simple as meeting 3 new people and thanking
Yeah.
the host so you get reinvited. But it also means you don't have to go to the whole thing because you got a
Yeah.
goal in mind. And by the way, I am not talking just exclusively about those events that say networking event on them. I'm
Sure.
talking about when you're playing pickleball or mahjong or you're going to neighbors or friends for dinner.
Yeah.
Another tip I have is go sit by the person you know the least rather than the person you know the best. If you are sitting by the person you know the best at a networking event, you are no longer at a networking event.
So true. Oh my gosh. I really wish I had talked to you a few weeks ago because I signed up for this huge networking event that was in Vegas. I don't know if you're familiar with Alex Hermosi, but he's like the goat of growing your business, right? And so I was really excited. It was something that like I went to this room. I'm like, I want to learn, I want to network, but I didn't go in with a plan. Funny thing that I learned about myself is that I am a pretty outgoing person. Like I'm going to go talk to people. Like I'm friendly. I want to meet new people. But for some reason, when I got in that room, I kind of shrank. And I shrank because there was all these massive, multimillionaires in the room that I'm like, who the heck am I to be here? Right. And so I found myself kind of close in. I had paid a lot to be there. It was like a really exciting experience, but I found myself kind of being someone that I was unfamiliar with. I didn't have a plan. And so I wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go find 3 people. I wasn't like, okay, I'm going to go find the other person that looks like they're just as lost as I am right now. And I found myself like in the corner eating by myself, which is so not who I am at the end of the day. But as you're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, if I had gone in there with a plan and I told myself, you're going to go attach to these people for these reasons. It wasn't until the end of the conference, as a 2-day thing, that I was really kind of starting to warm up with people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the extra things I could have learned if I had gone into it with intention as opposed to just like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? So I really, again, I wish I would have talked to you earlier, but thank you for that advice because,
Let's do a flash round. I'm going to give you
okay,
2 or 3 great tips, and the rest
okay,
of them are all in the book.
I'm ready.
Number 1, tag team with a friend. And
Yeah,
even if you go into an event like that and you meet somebody else who's in the corner eating because they're terrified, say, let's go work this room together.
yeah.
Number 2, wear something that's easy to start a conversation. Wear bright
Ooh,
pink or
I like that.
yellow, or have a
Hmm.
great handbag or a fun pair of shoes. And a compliment is the easiest way to start a conversation. Love your bag, love your shoes. You look great in your suit. Where'd you get your tie? That's a great way to do it. And number
Yes.
3 is you were talking about eating. I always say I never go to an event to eat or drink, but you can easily find me in the bar line or the food line. Why? Everybody else there is paralyzed. It's an easy time to
Yeah.
introduce yourself to the people in front and behind you.
Gosh, that is such good advice. Now I'm going to have to go book another event just so I can go take all this great
Yes.
advice and do better the second time around. You're right, though. And I was thinking, too, as you were saying, don't go to this stuff with friends because you're not going to get the full experience. That is so true. I am that like person. It's like, oh, say hi to 3 people next to you. I'll be like, oh, and then go back to chatting to the person that feels comfortable. So I really appreciate that you brought that to the table. How, is that something where in your book, and I know we're going to get more into that, but is that something that, people listening right now, you're kind of giving these tidbits. I- Is it completely like enveloped with things that are going to help people just gain more confidence in these types of situations?
It's not just about gaining confidence. It's
Yeah.
not. Here's what I found when I taught the Women Leader series and then this book, which is what they were asking for when I was teaching the Women Leader series. There is no material out there that tells you, okay, I want this thing, but what do I do? How do I
Yeah.
even start? How do I go about doing that? That is the whole goal of this. And this is why it's a bestseller, is because
Yeah.
take this book and they dog ear it and they tab it and they highlight it because they use it. They say,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can have this thing I want because this tells me how to go about doing it.
Right. It's kind of an interesting thing if you think about it, like, it's almost like something that's giving people permission to act differently than they normally would. Like, if somebody's giving you that type of advice, like, I'm resonating with what you're saying right now, and I'm going, "Okay, because you're telling me I can do this." Like, well, also, I feel like you've given me full send on getting a whole new wardrobe so that I have pieces for people to talk about. You can talk to my husband about that one, Emily. But the thing is
Mm.
like, you're giving me permission on things and feelings that I may not have just come up with on my own.
Eh, that is true. That is true. But here's what I know about this material
Yeah.
because I know it's effective for one reason. Women come back and tell me the stories about how they used it. I
Oh.
used it and I won this court case because I now knew what my opposition was going to say about me. I used the message grid. I built something better than I'd ever done in court before, or I got that
Wow.
promotion. Or guess what I did? I just won, public office here in my city, state, county, country because I implemented how to raise money and how to get votes and how to network and how to get over dream slashers and all these things in my head. Yes.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is this doesn't just apply to one type of person. It seems
That
like
was
this.
my other thing. Jenny, this irked me when I looked at the material out there.
Yeah.
It worked perfectly if you lived in this little box and worked in this little box.
Yeah.
If you were in an office that had a conference room and this kind of boss, then it worked. But what if you're a leader on a construction site
Yeah.
or the Walmart greeter? Where was your game plan for that?
Yeah.
So this works regardless how you're leading in your life.
That's so cool. Everybody get out of the box. We're not doing the box anymore. I love that. So, okay, so let's go tactical, if you don't mind. You talk about men's and women's brains being wired differently. Shocker, right? And that communicating with a man the same way you communicate with a woman is costing women. So, can you break that thought down for us?
Yes. Well, and I will tell you, this is a shock to some people that our brains are actually scientifically wired differently. Sometimes people will want to push back with me on this fact. I'm like, you don't have to take it up with this Mizzou girl. You can go take it up with Stanford and Harvard and all these places that did all this research. But
Yeah,
here's the piece. If you're communicating with men the same way you're communicating with women, you are losing. And here's some real basics. Our brains are wired for consensus.
okay,
Theirs are wired that when they enter a conversation, somebody's the one up and somebody's the one down,
okay.
not the consensus. So when we talk, Jenny, we like the term we, right?
Yeah,
And our conversations often take a little bit longer to start because we're looking for something in common. And you never want to be too braggadocious with another woman. You
right,
use what I call that Downton Abbey speech, where we kind of hide things under a layer so we don't look, like the bad person or a little too bitchy. But
right.
with men, you can't do that. You have to use the term I. You've got to take clear credit for your accomplishments. They're not interested, and nor should they have to go dig through the world of words you just said to try and figure out what you're trying to tell them. Just tell them.
Yeah, just be straightforward.
Be straightforward. And the things that we think hurt our feelings, including interrupting, don't hurt their feelings. They think directness is the way to operate.
Yeah. If you guys out there haven't learned that yet, just be direct. You're going to save yourself so much time, okay? I it's funny. I love my husband. I'm not a man hater by any means, but it is so interesting how different our brains work. Men are just so simplistic, it seems. And it seems like women have like 100 tabs open at all times. So, yeah, finding that common ground on how to communicate with one another, it's just going to get you the results you're looking for faster. I also want to talk about the social media one. So you say stop lurking and instead build 2 or 3 positive catchphrases you can drop into comments to lift other women up. So why does that small habit seem to matter so much?
Nothing we should say on social media should be anything but positive.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at when I open my social media or other people's and people are coming for me.
You're
And
like, get out of here.
It has no value.
Yeah.
We are not put on this earth to pull each other down. So we start with something positive. And I think oftentimes we see things and we say, well, I'm going to have to stop here and think about what I'm going to say to Jenny about her promotion or her new job. And
Yeah.
it's got to be clever and right. Just come up with 2 or 3 answers that are universal and plug them in. It's good for your algorithm. It's good for your brand, your personal brand. It's what's expected of women leaders. And we've already decided everybody listening to this is already one. So it's expected of you.
Yeah.
And that's how we really kind of get ahead in the social media networking game as well.
Such a good point. And it's so true. It's like it's so easy for people out there to, just be watchers or even be haters. I mean, I totally feel you on what you just said. But it's like, yeah, if we kind of challenged ourselves with say 3 nice things to people today somewhere on social media, it not only feels good, but you're right. It really posts you in a positive light out there. I had to laugh when you were talking about people getting in there and saying negative things. For people who know this about me, I have an entire business called Social Grays. It started as events just for me. Now I do a coaching program. I have a digital course out there, but I just expanded into offering the snack carts themselves, right? It was just like an easy fit. People constantly asked me, where do you get these carts? So a lot went into the creation process, and I mean a lot. And there's a lot of expenses involved when you're building something like this. And I had a lady that popped into my, not even my DMs, it was a public comment, and she said, wow, the cost of these is diabolical. And I'm like, diabolical? Now you're associating me with the devil. And I'm thinking, lady, you have no idea the work that goes into this. You have no idea the costs that it costs me to go into this to make a quality product. But it's so easy for instead of somebody to be like, wow, look at this girl, a mom out there trying to get it, trying to make a living for her family. And instead of like building up that narrative, I'm suddenly diabolical for the prices I have to charge. So I feel you on that, and it makes me even more eager to get out there and praise people for what they're doing.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
please and thank you for saying that. Everybody, please, your homework today is go say 3 nice things to 3 different people online and see what comes from that. So I really want to talk about duct tape and white lies. I can already tell this is going to be at the top of my must-read list. I'm going to get it for my entire team. So who do you feel like you wrote this for, and what do you want a woman to walk away with ultimately after she has read this book?
I think I made it really clear already who I wrote this book for.
Yeah.
I always say I wrote this for us.
Yeah.
For all of the people who never saw themselves in the material, or that they picked up a book on what they were going to get and this was going to guide them and it said, oh, you need to manifest your way to success. Well,
Right.
how do I do that? What
Right.
is that? So I wrote it for us. It's super pink, and
Oh,
it
I
is
love
in
that.
in paperback on purpose. Why? Because I also noticed that some of these hardback books were running $33, $34.
Mm,
This thing is currently $17 on Amazon.
love that.
Everybody can afford this book, and you can travel with it too because it doesn't weigh 40
Yes.
pounds. But my whole goal about this book was that women used it. And I
Yeah.
love that they come to my book signings with them in use. It looks like a textbook at the end of the semester. It is
So
full
cool.
of papers and notes. And they introduce themselves with the terms from the book. They'll come up to me and they'll say, hey, Emily, I'm a swimsuit friend, or
Oh,
I've overcome this dream slasher. My whole goal of this is that women put together by the end of it, and somebody's going to overthink this, and don't overthink this, an individualized plan of action, which is very simple, which
yeah.
is I want this thing and I have a plan, and I now know I have the tools that I'm simply going to perfect after reading this book that I can put in place to start heading in that direction.
That is so awesome.
And by the
I
way,
would
today,
yeah,
today,
today.
part of one of the favorites I have of my dream slashers, which is a term I made up.
Yeah.
These are all these things that women say to get in their own way. And,
Yes.
these are all these things such as, oh, I'm going to do this thing when my kids get older, when my mom's not sick,
Yes.
when I lose 20 pounds, once I've been in the business for 5 years, right? All of that.
The
Those are
excuse
all,
list.
yes, all excuses that you walk away from this realizing I can actually have this. And I've
Yeah.
actually talked myself out of this, and I'm going to make tiny steps today, and I'm going to have a whole heck of a lot of inertia in a few weeks.
That is so I love that you have written this book. I love it. I
Thanks.
truly am so excited to read it. You kind of mentioned earlier, like a little quick snippets of people who have come to you and said, "Hey, I was able to do this because of this book." Can you share with us what your favorite of all time success story has been?
Nope, don't have one.
Ah,
I get them almost every day. I get emails and social media comments from people or texts from women, and it's all very personal. It is what has happened to them, it is what was important to them. And they range the whole gamut of life. I will tell you a interesting story, though. I think
yes.
we have this perception that people who are famous or powerful or successful don't have all of these other concerns we have and have it all figured out. I was speaking in Europe last year, and this woman came up to me afterwards and she said, "Hey, I heard you speak a couple of years ago, and it was so helpful to me that when I heard you were going to be here in town, I came back to hear from you again."
Oh,
So
love
we
that.
talked for a few minutes. Here's the amazing part. She handed me her business card as she was walking away. She's the president of her country.
Oh,
And
my
she
Lanta.
believes she has a lot more to learn, and I think all of us who believe in being lifelong learners and
Yeah.
by the way, the number one thing that women ask for from their employers is professional development. We have a lot more we can learn, and we can be even better and even more excited about our lives.
Gosh, that had to be quite a moment for you. Like a president of a country being like, "Girl, I came back again because I absorbed what you were saying. It hit home. It changed things for me." Like, that's a big deal.
Well,
Good
this
for
is
you.
useful. This is useful. Yeah,
I
I found
love
something
it.
useful, yes.
You have, absolutely, and I really, really wanna drive home that this book is something that is, again, like she said, it's for all of us. It's not for some of us, it's for all of us, and how cool to be able to read this book and at the end of it go, "Here's what I really got out of this." You know? Make time for yourself. Go pour a glass of wine at night. Go read a chapter if that's all you can get through because your life is busy, but
Agreed.
just start the book. Okay, so if this is just something that I like to give nuggets for on this show. So, in your opinion, if a woman does one thing differently this week after hearing you on this podcast today, what would you want it to be?
Take a risk. And
Okay.
we all define risk differently. One thing I noticed when I was studying women who were successful and observing what they were doing and taking notes in my phone, the women who were thriving in their lives lived with less regret. That does
Yes.
not mean things always work out. I always
Sure.
say if I physically face planted every time I made a mistake, I wouldn't have any teeth. But I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, I should have done that thing.
Yeah.
I
Which
never know. I should have written that book.
yes.
What if I did it? How would things be different? And sometimes I do a lot of things, and I know you do too. This is why we're kindred spirits. They don't
Yes.
work at all. They're crash and burns, but we
Yeah.
learn a lot, and we aren't sitting around thinking woulda, coulda, shoulda.
It's such a crazy misconception. Like, it honestly makes me go crazy thinking about it. How many people end up not taking risks and staying the same because they think what they're doing is more comfortable? Well, are you really that comfortable, guys? Are you really that comfortable? If you have a job you don't like, if you're in a relationship you don't like, if there's something in your life that isn't working for you, how truly comfortable are you? Right? Comfortable is not a good feeling, right? Unless you're like flying first class somewhere amazing and then you want to be comfortable. But internally, comfortable is quite often not a good thing. Okay? Emily, I have some swag I'm going to be sending you because guess what? My motto is get uncomfortable. So
I love
I
it.
got all the swag coming with that phrase on it, right? And I want all of you to parade that around because it's freaking true. Get uncomfortable, take the risk. You will never know what could be on the outlying lands for you if you don't, right? It's way worse to live with regret, in my opinion. And the regret could be, what if I didn't write the book? What if I never did this? What if I didn't take the chance? Let yourself have a chance to have that opportunity, everybody. Okay? Deal? Everybody, I hope you're saying yes. Yes, Jenny and Emily, that's what I'm doing. Okay. So, okay, here's the thing. Y'all, I think that we have learned a lot from Emily today. I personally have, and I am so excited that you have been on this show. I think we can all say we're going to get the book. I'm getting the book. Where's the easiest place for us to get duct tape and white lies?
For
Amazon?
most people, it's gonna be Amazon,
Perfect.
and up there as well is the audiobook. So if you can only hear books when you're driving or doing other activities. And you don't have to worry
Oh,
about it. You do not
yes.
have to speed it up. I sped it up for you. It's 5.5 hours.
Perfect. Who can commit to this, right? I love audiobooks. I love that. I've gotten to the weird age where I don't like listening to the radio anymore. I don't know if that's like a thing for everybody, but I'd rather listen to people talk and absorb it and learn. So that is an alternative that I'm going to do. I'm getting the audiobook. You can also find her, you guys, at emilylampkin.com. I am going to put this in the show notes so that you know how to properly spell that. You can also find her over on Instagram. It's Emily K. Lampkin. That's Lampkin. So, and look up the Women Leaders series because this is 25 years of hard-won wisdom, okay? And it's all pointed at one thing: helping you become the leader you already freaking are, okay? So, friend, if today's episode, seriously, stirred something in you, if some part of you is finally ready to stop waiting for permission, that's not an accident. You're listening to this for a reason. Listen, okay? That's your answer. Emily, what does girl, why not you mean to you?
It means that we can all have what we want. And we
Yes.
can have it right now where we are, living our lives in the messy middle with way too many responsibilities and way too many things going on. You can still have it now, here, you.
Yes. That is the absolute truth. And the first time that you guys actually start believing that is going to be the biggest change in all of your lives. Emily, I so appreciate you being here today. You have been such a great advocate. Your experience, your wisdom, and everything that you have shared is going to truly continue to change all the lives of the people that you touch. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I cannot wait to get on Amazon and go buy that book.
It was such fun. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody, I really want this episode to hit home. Again, you're not hearing this by happenstance. You're hearing this for a reason. Get out there, do something about it. This book is $17. That's like less than a mocha frappuccino latte, whatever you're getting at Starbucks today. Okay? Buy something that's actually going to create that change that you truly desire. You will be so happy that you did. And make sure that you jump back into Emily's DMs so that you can be of the many, many people that have said, Emily, this changed my life for X, Y, and Z. Thank you for listening today, everybody. I can't wait to chat with you next week.
If something in this episode made you sit up a little straighter or dream a little bigger, don't ignore it. That's your future nudging you. I'm living proof that you can start messy, start scared, start in the worst timing, and still create something beautiful. Thank you for listening to Girl, Why Not You? Now go take one small step towards the life you've been craving. Hit subscribe, leave a review if you feel called, and share this with someone who's ready for more.